About an hour after our departure, we met the party commanded by Lieutenant Weed, 2 subaltern officers, 90 dragoons, and 10 wagons. They had been in the field since May, and had done good service against the gauche Yutas. We halted and liquored up, and after American fashion, talked politics in the wilderness. Half an hour then led us to what we christened Kennedy's Hole, another circular bowl girt with grass and rush, in the plain under a dark brown rock with black bands and scatters of stone. A short distance beyond, and also on the right of the road, lay the Poison Springs, in a rushy bed. The water was temptingly clear, but the bleached bones of many a quadruped skeleton bade us beware of it. After turning a point, we saw in front a swamp, the counterpart of what met our eyes last night. It renewed also the necessity of rounding it by a long southerly sweep. The scenery was that of the Takashua near Zala, or the delicious land behind Aden, the Arabian seaboard. Sand heaps, the only dry spots after rain, fixed by tufts of metallic green salsalae, and guarded from the desert wind by rusty cane grass, submerged from the wet, oozy plain in which the mules often sank to the fetlock. The unique and snowy floor of thin nitre, bluish where deliquescent, was here solid as a sheet of ice, there a network of little ridges, as if the salt had expanded by crystallization, with regular furrows worked by rain. After heavy showers it became a soft, slippery, tenacious, and slushy mud that renders traveling exceedingly laborious. The glare is blinding by day, and at night the refrigerating properties of the salt render the wind bitterly cold, even when the mercury stands at 50 degrees Fahrenheit. We halted to bait at the halfway house, the fork of the road leading to Pleasant Valley, an unpleasant place, so called because discovered on a pleasant evening. Boyd Station may have been known as Butte or Desert Station. It does not appear on the 1861 mail contract, but a description of a stop here exists, and Egan mentioned it as a Pony Express station. It was built by and named for station keeper George Washington Boyd in about 1855. George W. died in Salt Lake City in 1903. Bid Boyd, a relative of George, lived at the station until around the turn of the century. According to local resident and Pony Express historian David Bagley, he didn't do much but hang out there and enjoy the solitude. There was apparently a small spring of very brackish water near Boyd Station. A well was dug to try to improve the water supply, but all that was found was brine, so strong they used it to cure meat. As we advanced, the land improved, the salt disappeared, the grass was splendidly green, and approaching the station we passed Willow Creek, where gopher holes and snipes, willows, and wild roses told of life and gladdened the eye. The station lay on a bench beyond the slope. The express rider was a handsome young Mormon who wore in his felt hat the effigy of a sword. His wife was an Englishwoman who, as usual under the circumstances, had completely thrown off the Englishwoman. The station keeper was an Irishman, one of the few met among the saints. Nothing could be fouler than that log hut. The flies soon drove us out of doors. Hospitality, however, was not wanting. We sat down to salt beef and bacon, for which we were not allowed to pay. The evening was spent in setting a wolf trap, which consisted of a springy pole and a noose. We strolled about after sunset with a gun, but failed to bag snipe, wildfowl, or hare, and sighted only a few cunning old crows and black swamp birds with yellow throats. As the hut contained but one room, we slept outside. The Gosh Yuta are apparently not a venturesome people, and still it's considered advisable at times to shift one's sleeping quarters and to acquire the habit of easily awakening. A little war had been waging near Willow Springs. In June, the station was attacked by a small band of Gosh Yuta, of whom 3 were shot and summarily scalped, an energetic proceeding which had prevented a repetition of the affair. The savages, who are gathering their pine nut harvest and are driven by destitution to beg at the stations, to which 1 meal a week will attach them, are now comparatively peaceful. When the immigration season recommences, they are expected to be troublesome, and their numbers, the Yutas can bring 12,000 warriors into the field, render them formidable. Jake, the Shoshone, who had followed us from Lost Springs, still considered his life in danger. He was as unwilling to wend his way alone as an Arab Bedouin or an African Negro in their respective interiors. With regards to ourselves, Lieutenant Weed had declared that there was no danger. The station people thought, on the contrary, that the snake which had been scotched, not killed, would recover after the departure of the soldiers, and that the work of destruction had not been carried on with sufficient vigor. A great deal of controversy has arisen over the location of the Willow Springs station. Descriptions given by Nick Wilson, an express writer, and Sir Richard Burton do not describe the location of the place now claimed to be the station site. A foundation, identified tentatively as dating to the proper period, and similar to the structure depicted in the sketch from an 1868 photograph, has been found at the spot where an 1882 survey plat locates the Willow Springs stable, about 3/4 of a mile east of the structure popularly known as the station house.